do you honestly believe that the Israeli government of any party, any Israeli government, can negotiate with Hamas at this point in time?
Well, first of all, we're not asking any Israeli government to negotiate with Hamas. Second of all, within the Israeli government, even this coalition, you have more extremist elements who refuse to recognize Palestinian rights, who advocate expulsion, who articulate racist arguments, and nobody's saying we want to pick and choose who's in the Israeli government. We are setting up an independent government of professionals, and the PLO remains the political decision maker, and the president's agenda is what has dominated the political scene. So there's nothing new, except we are empowering ourselves, we are repairing our political system, we're repairing our democracy in order to have elections, and we are respecting the pluralism within Palestinian society, and Hamas has accepted the two-state solution, so we're moving ahead. When there was a rift, Netanyahu kept saying, we cannot negotiate with the Palestinians, they're divided. We cannot negotiate with Abbas, he doesn't represent everybody. Now that we did our utmost in order to repair the political system and create a vibrant, inclusive democracy, we are being told, you cannot, we will not talk to you because you have an inclusive system and you're talking to Hamas. Hamas is part of our political system.
Doctor, with all due respect, Hamas is a terrorist organization. Even those of us who are desperately seeking a way to thread the needle and to get to peace, and who give every benefit of the doubt when possible to the peace process, have no choice but to conclude that Hamas, its leadership, to its core, is a terrorist group that launches missiles from Gaza into Israeli territory. Why does Hamas, if you say it believes in a two-state solution, not simply renounce terrorism, stand up publicly and say we accept the right of Israel to exist and change its charter? President Obama has made that a precondition for negotiations. Why not do that?
Don't you think, well, first of all, I'm not a Hamas spokesperson, but don't you think that's not the real issue? The real issue is the continued Israeli military occupation of Palestinian territory.
Doctor, with all due respect, even Prime Minister Netanyahu, whom you view as perhaps a tougher adversary to negotiate with than some of his predecessors, made it very clear in his speech to the United States Congress that Israel would cede territory that it feels it has a legitimate claim to. A two-state solution. It wants nothing more than to get rid of those territories.
Israel is not being generous. Netanyahu is not saying we're giving up Israeli land. They are saying, okay, what's ours is ours. Now let's see how much we can keep of what's yours. The West Bank and Gaza are occupied territory. This should be understood. And according to international law, Israel has no right to annex any part of that or to remove its population and put them in
just so the historical record is clear.
Yes.
The territory Israel has right now
is not Israel.
Has because it was attacked by every surrounding Arab nation, and every person understands that. The Arabs have been at war with Israel, and even those of us who desperately want peace, who have been viewed as pushing for negotiating positions that are more amenable to peace, will never forget the historical record is that the Arab nations at every opportunity have attacked and have tried to destroy the state of Israel. So let's not just forget the history. We cannot forget history. Let me ask you this simple question.
I think in
Dr. Ashawi, answer this question. Answer this question. Simple question. Yasser Arafat said no in 2000 to the peace plan that President Clinton negotiated. Was that a mistake?
The question was, do you want to go back and discuss Camp David in 2000?
Sure I do, because I think understanding the history is necessary.
What's happening is that you are throwing at me all the conventional arguments. And
sometimes
all the
conventional arguments are correct, Dr. Ashawi. I hate to break it to you.
I'm so sorry. It's unfortunate because I live there. I've lived this all my life.
I've been there often enough.
I've been part of this all my life. And unfortunately, there are people who are very good at spin and presenting a public discourse that is not entirely consistent with the truth. Let me tell you that in 2000...
Are you saying I'm one of those people?
No.
Let me ask you this simple question. Having heard President Obama's speech, having heard Prime Minister Netanyahu's speech, why cannot Hamas simply stand up and say, we renounce terrorism, we recognize the state of Israel, now let us move forward to a simple resolution of property? Why can they not do that?
I suggest you ask Hamas that, because Hamas gave Israel, as I told you, a ceasefire, and they accepted that two-state solution. Now,
but you have defended Hamas at every turn.
We could say the same thing. Look, we could say the same thing to the Israeli government. This Israeli coalition has people who want to expel the Palestinians, has people who are absolute and utter racists and who dehumanize us in public, and yet we are not saying they should be expelled from the coalition. We are saying we respect the will of the Israeli people, even if they elect extreme, hardline, right-wing governments. But when it comes to Palestine, you want us all to fit a certain mold. You want to deny any kind of pluralism. So long as we have dissent that can be expressed by peaceful means within a democratic system, we will continue to respect pluralism within the law and within the ballot box rather than the dictates of others.
That is all well said, but it cannot set you up such that you expect to get international recognition when it is a terrorist organization.
Of course we need international recognition because we are a nation with rights. We need self-determination. We have been victimized for no fault of our own. Self-determination, freedom, dignity, recognizing the equality of the Palestinian people, not just subject to all sorts of stereotypes and labels and exclusion.
This being TV, time is unfortunately limited. I wish we could continue, and we will continue
this
in days.
We do need to continue because I think there are lots of issues that have to be clarified, and I'm afraid
I look forward to it.